Okay, so yeah, we're here. For the guys who weren't here last time, which was 7 months ago, um, I was like just first getting my first forays into like organized industry stuff and didn't know a bunch of stuff, and so of course, as is my way, pinged a bunch of people and all the industrialists came together. Everyone just chatted a bunch about markets and like how industry looks like in Brave, and there's like a bunch of established people, and actually like helped me a bunch with getting off my feet and kind of getting into the real game of it. But yeah, so it's really just a spot where we can get all the new guys and the old guys together and figure out problems with the current market, which are, as the old guys know, they kind of are just the same. Like the cycles go and ebbs and flows of time. We kind of just like the market's never quite where we always want it to be. Then when it is, we get on deployment somewhere, and then things get kind of shaken apart, and who knows. But yeah, it was just so that we could all air it out and figure out what are the current problems that we're facing, what we want to do about them, and kind of attack it in a little more organized manner than the typical brave running around and ad hoc, laissez faire, I don't know what, space capitalism, but it works out. So anyway, yeah, we were articulating some of the problems that are always present, which are like ore listed on open orders, I guess PI and salvage mats, all that sort of stuff too, and trying to figure out is there like a demand for actually one question that is mine, just personal one is, do the newer guys want the market to look a bit more like that, in that we have listed orders of like materials and stuff on the actual market hubs rather than kind of the old school Nullsec way of doing things, which is like contracts or just chatting to people on Slack and kind of doing backroom deals for figuring out how to get mats. Is there like a overwhelming desire from a lot of people to make it more listed on the open market?
I'm seeing a lot of ships on contract not go through because it appears a lot of people don't really use them. I'm sure like some of them like Serbs and shortly Eagles will be taken off contract just for ease of access. But I think a lot of people only use the market.
That seems to be the way things go, kind of a little bit with Brave, at least in my experience with it compared to other Nullsec groups.
Speaking as a fairly new bro, so the biggest things I can fly right now are cruisers, right? And the a lot of like the smart bombs and missiles and rockets and stuff like that when you're trying to do just basic fittings just aren't there. I would love to build a couple of practices, but it requires smart bombs, which there are none of.
I got you. And that kind of goes in tandem with Valya's thing that we were kind of talking about in Indie Bros yesterday on the Slack channel of like we kind of, a lot of people import stuff because there's not a lot of stuff listed on the open market, and then, well, okay, not a lot of like off doctrine sort of things listed on the open market, and then if that stuff doesn't fill, the market people end up not updating it or falling away, or it just gets really expensive that it's basically not worth filling locally, and then it kind of like contributes to this vicious cycle of like not actually listing our market stuff. What I'm kind of wondering myself is how many like big order importers, like guys who just kind of have the spreadsheets that they update stuff, like Rehan's old doctrine listing sort of thing. How many of those guys are still functioning right now? Do we have a lot of you guys doing that right now?
I know that Jinx is definitely still doing that. He just chucks things on markets and just leaves them, and they sell when they sell. So I think for especially a lot of the old bros, they would just rather just put stuff on market, and when it sells, it will sell.
Yeah, exactly.
With the empty markets for ammo, there is one problem. You cannot make every ammo that is in game. Some of those items are dropped items that you can only get from salvage, from looting ships and stuff. So you can make T1 ammo, you can make T2 ammo, and you can make some faction ammo. But the remaining items, like if you get, I don't know, special type of smart bomb that is only dropped by Sancha Reds, you just have to import those. Some items in game cannot be produced.
That's fair. So what I'm gathering right now, of the people that are present here right now, how many of you guys do like importing at some bigger scale, or any scale really?
Well, I import quite a bit of tea, the moon goo. I import a lot of faction ammo that's required.
I
Okay.
import when I
I
see a
import
gap.
a lot of ore as well as needed that I can't source, minerals from the local market. So I bought a jump freighter recently, so I'm importing a lot more stuff.
Gotcha. And I guess I should have clarified importing with like the intent to sell on the open market, like modules, guns, ammo, that sort of thing.
Well, yeah, guns and ammo.
Okay.
Not anything that I can produce. Tech 2, I make a lot of Tech 2 modules as well. So guns from A to Z.
Gotcha. And among the guys who do local industry, does much of it get listed on the open market? I know there's a bunch of us like cap builders and that sort of thing. That's kind of a different ball game. But like for doctrine ships and that sort of stuff, and actually off doctrine stuff.
Yeah, if you want to sell one thing, two things to each person, the only way to do it is on the market, right? So
Yeah.
I list, I think every hull up to battle cruisers and just a lot of the rigs on the market, just all go on the market.
Beautiful.
In G though, I don't really do 68-foot except for a couple of rigs.
Gotcha. And for those of you that or like build locally, do you list it on the open market, or is it mainly kind of contract stuff, or like Slack deals, like things that you make for specific buyers?
We are a T1 group, and we only list on the open market.
Yeah,
Okay.
everything I build as well goes straight to either 68 FT, GE, or over in UALX.
Okay, gotcha.
Me and Ishi, we build T2 ship hulls, and we list everything on the market, basically.
Okay, so it's not like a lack of people playing in the open market. I just don't know myself, like what the picture looks like of who does what, or if there's anyone that does it through another avenue. But we do. So basically, the consensus is that we do have people working on the open market, and that's kind of like the direction Brave kind of operates primarily, except for some like really large volume sort of things.
Yeah, the end products usually end up on the open market. It's intermediate products that other indie bros want to build with that you're not going to find very much of.
Yeah, and that's true.
Is there a way to like set up like a wish list? I mean, I'm just speaking as a new guy because I can't import anything more than one or two things at a time because I don't have a ship big enough. So, is there any way to like set up a wish list? Like for me in particular, I want to build this ship and I need these parts because they're not on the market. And if you bring them in like a month, great, I'll pay you for them. But something like that.
There are jump freighter groups which can help you import stuff. If it's something very cheap, just ask around in channel here in Mumble if somebody's doing jitter run, if they can bring you something cheap or something. But if you do like, I don't know, 200, 300 million ISK, then it's good to have Jita or Amar alts. You buy stuff there, you contract it to Trinity Industries or BLT, and they will haul it to you to wherever you want in GE or 68 in their hubs.
And I think if it's things that you need for T2 ships or the T2 components or the PI, I think if you literally ask on the marketplace channel, there's like tons of people who have a lot of stuff. Like I know Jay Alice, he has like tons of materials that he's trying to get rid of, and I think part of it is just asking around because people do have stuff in their hangars. It's just a matter of getting someone to sell it to.
Yeah, I really can't stress enough to getting on Slack and jumping in those Indie Bro channels and the market channels. That's where I source a lot of my materials from before I try to import it from Jita or Amar. But we do have, other industry guys that have those jump freighters and freighters for those new guys still trying to figure out how to move stuff from high sec into the low sec area. We have those services available. And it's relatively cheap to get something moved.
Do we have any large T2 production guys here?
I make a lot of T2.
Define T2.
Yeah.
T2 modules, T2
I mean,
ships.
sorry, large.
Anything that
Large.
can... Large?
Like large producer.
I'll just say...
Yeah,
By volume
define
or by
large.
size?
Okay, let's say over 5 billion goo consumed a month.
Me.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
we do it.
I'm
And
close.
you as well?
Yeah, I can make pretty much anything in the game. So one day it might be make me a panther, and then next day it's we need some eagles. So I kind of produce ad hoc as needed. I don't have a specific thing that I focus on all the time.
That would be
How are you,
sick.
how are you guys finding the moon goose situation?
I don't personally have a lot of trouble with the moon goo because I buy the ore, but it's basically because I have a lot of capital, so I can have 30 or 40 billion in goo sitting as I slowly react it. Other people can't do that. They can't put out that capital. That's probably the issue for a smaller producer.
I do the same thing as Dunk. I just buy large amounts of. I don't buy the ore. I buy the goo off the marketplace. Usually at about G to buy or so, and I just kind of hold on to it, use it when I want to.
Same here, basically. Yeah.
Jay just started selling T2 components, which Rihan used to do, and that's really nice. I know I'm missing out on some profit, but I just prefer doing it that way.
It saves you like 40, 50 reaction slots depending on what you're building.
So, I mean, if you make everything, you want to do all the reactions. If you're a small guy, you're making a couple of things, you might not need, have like 30 or 40 different components, right? Because that makes a big difference, I think.
But that's also the problem with the T2 stuff, is that for us that do it regularly, it's not a problem to hang out in Slack and get on Marketplace every morning and just get the stuff. But for a newcomer, it's almost impossible to get in there because they don't have the funds or the skills to like keep up with it and buy it, get everything basically.
Then that just leads into what I was talking about earlier in Indy Bros, that I think the new bros need to look out for each other. They need to find other new bros who they can work with and basically increase their working capital as a group. So if you have 5 people with 100 mil, they've got 500 mil to work with, and they can much more easily source moon goo or moon ore from marketplace rather than asking for a few bits. Like a little bit of what they have, they can potentially buy out some of the smaller stocks that they see on the marketplace. And recently, I've seen a lot more of the new bro industry groups. So I know that Elsky did a few cap groups, but then he also started, I think, a T1 group and a T2 group. And I know apart from that, there's 1 or 2 other T1 groups that are knocking around and they are making their way into T1, starting from very little, but they are gaining speed.
So just I'm like currently trying to move my industry character in the bird space. I have a Jita connection, which is nice, but as of right now, I can't make T2s. It'll happen in maybe like 3 weeks. But would you suggest anything for making just like T1s? Like, is there a way to make good profit margins there? Or because like what I'm seeing is like I'll like open up a blueprint and then it'll be like this costs like twice as much as it sells for.
How old is your general tune in game? How old are you in game?
You mean how many skills do I have trained?
Maybe what is your is quality? It's different from a person, but from what I found myself, I did try T2 production and I sort of did not like it because I found that I can make T1 stuff much easier and sell them at much bigger amounts.
Okay.
But there are T2 producers that started T2 production and they built from ground up and they are really good at it. So, I mean, it depends on you, what you want. T1 is really simple production. T2 is sort of trickier, but it requires also more money in your wallet so that you can, buy some ore, make reactions, buy goo or whatever, research stuff, then produce the T1 hulls, then make T2 stuff. It's more complex, but if you want, you can start with T1. You can focus on the doctrine stuff that people fly. The market in GE is PvP market mainly, so you will sell a lot of combat ships here. In 68 there is PvE market, so you will sell stuff like Vexers, Procurers, mining ships in general. Right now a lot of fighters, but you will need some capital skills for that.
Okay. Yeah. I also hang on, sorry, continue. I need to get data for my question.
I know that a lot of people hesitate to get into T1 because a lot of people assume that there isn't much profit. And if you're importing ore, I'd assume you're almost making a loss depending on what you're producing.
Apologies to interrupt. I was out of the channel for a second. Did anybody mention to dock up stuff in Impulse? If you didn't just see the...
Yes.
Yeah, Shutter did.
Good stuff.
Got it, thanks.
People are already docked, so in this...
Okay, alright, just making sure.
Hold on, Virgin.
Apologies for interruption.
Virgin, wait. Dock up now or dock up for the op in, let's just say, 10
No,
hours?
Dock up now.
Dock up right now.
Dock up now.
We're indie bros. We don't undock.
Yeah.
We don't undock.
That's what I meant.
Right. But as you're saying, Valia.
Kind of all caps too.
I'm just sending a couple pings. Give me a moment.
Okay.
I think the GE market has been a little slow now that, particularly with the war over, it's no goons coming through. The fights are fewer and farther between.
If you ask me, I blame test. First we deployed to ERVK, and we know wartime test is pretty much space communism. So ERVK, some of our, especially hull producers, got screwed over by test. Test was selling sometimes below cost. And then there was the whole UALX. So we've got like multiple stagings, and I think that is also spreading people a bit thinly compared to before. GE was the go-to market, and now test. Now we're competing, so it's UALX. I think UTAC Q as well. So everyone's getting a bit spread out, and even people who used to import to GE, but people who are in test are probably now just stocking their own markets instead.
That's a good point. Actually, I had thought of the full, and actually what B Jinx was, or Jinx proper was saying about the current war going on. I guess that's kind of winding down a little bit in action. Is that we don't have goons running through here daily for fun fleets, and I don't know if demand has decreased proper or if people are just kind of importing difference.
I think there are less fun fleets, so it just moves around.
There's definitely a shift in what people buy, right? Like the PvP stuff doesn't move as much anymore, but the mining stuff sometimes moves. With that abyssal thing, a lot of abyssal related things move. So higher end components and stuff.
I'm seeing a lot of faction stuff move. I'm seeing a lot of cap modules, fighters, and ammo, including charges, go. Yondu can testify. In both. Yondu can testify. He sold 200 fighters in one night the other day.
Fighters are really hot right now, but you need cap skills for it. Cap skills 1. So if you want to train for it, go for it. There are a lot of cap components that you will find profit in.
Right now, actually, what I did 20 minutes ago was import a bunch of blueprints for pirate ships, which I don't know, maybe that's money.
Depends on which pirate ships. There are good pirate ships, there are bad ones.
A couple Cynaballs, some worms, and Vexer Aviation.
Hey, Duck, is there any way you can live Cyno and GE?
What's that?
Is there any way you can live Cyno and GE on whatever we're gonna pull loose canes out of?
Cyno's up in GE.
Thanks.
It might help. if we try to push for more bridging towards UALX. I mean, personally, I don't like to stock the test markets because I do feel like there's some space communism going on there.
We may not be there for much longer.
Oh, interesting.
Sorry.
Dank leaks.
Thanks, Valgren.
Another keep scar going up somewhere
Spy.
else.
That's awkward.
Right.
Yikes.
So about those pirate ships, there are good pirate ships, there are bad pirate ships, there are ships that you will sell, that there are ships that most people will not buy. But
Yeah, I think
if you buy Cinnables, they sell, but not very often.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same. Cinnables aren't the hottest right now. I'm not too sure about worms. And the last one you said was Vexanavies?
Yeah. I just got the 3. And then a bunch of T3 components.
You should be fine with Vexanavies. Vexanavies still like hotcakes in GE and Impulse.
Yeah. Not because I was looking at price histories for a bunch of different ships, and I saw like T2 Minotaur haulers. There's like 60 mil margin for like components cost that I just like did from like rough estimate, looking it up from the blueprint. And then like T2 Minotaur assault cruisers.
There are some pirate ships that are liked in fleets, like, for example, the Macarials or Nightmares. Nightmares are mainly testing, but Macarials are... they go quite well in GE. Also Rattlesnakes, those are mainly impasse commodity for rating.
Asteros are hot. The margins in GE
Asteros are really good.
Super crazy. But that's until like someone comes along and just dunks the margins. Because sterols you can get for pretty cheap, even in high sec. But but currently they're selling for 80 mil a pop. Gita is probably around 60 or 65 at the max.
So Asteros are a good one.
Asteros are good.
Okay,
One thing you guys need to think about is how long can you afford to have something sitting on the market, right? So Asteros will sell, the Tim will drop the price, and then people will stop selling them. And then later on, the price is going to rebound again when the actual market runs out. And if you can wait until that happens, you'll make a lot of money again, but you've got ISK tied up, right? And that's a really big factor if you're not quite rich yet.
Yeah. Just a quick question. I'm about to put in some of my pirate ships right now. Where do I manufacture for just T1 stuff? I'm looking at all the facilities.
If it's cruiser, bigger, Braveport. If it's smaller, the Pleasure Palace.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
There's a list on the wiki. Find that list.
Yeah, no, I just figured it out. Thanks.
I just sent it in the chat.
Also, if you are going to produce the faction stuff, it's good to stick with 1 or 2, 3 ships and do not go too far spread with those, because there are things like VNIs that will constantly go and sell. You can make really good profits on them. They sell in 68, they sell in GE, and they had a really bad few months. Like they were selling for 120, 150 mil per hull because the PPCs were really expensive, but they are back in normal. So you can, I mean, if you stick with niche marketing, you can really get rich on those.
Prices might drop even more because of Cal FW leaving, like something like that I read.
Like Galmo taking over the war zone. So I'm trying to think, do we, I guess from the newer guys here, are you seeing a lack of access to be able to get intermediary products towards building things, or is it just kind of not knowing how to navigate the sort of slack underground of how industry works in Brave to this point?
I'm not currently in any of those, but thank you for notifying me. I'll check that out.
So
Yes?
Go ahead.
No, I just don't see any like T2 components for ships. Like for specifically like composite alloy. I think it's like Ferrite composite alloy. Like market history, it's like had none of them have been sold for 2 months, which is understandable. I just like can't get into it.
The issue is if you put up things like that on the market, your stuff is kind of stranded. You can't use it. You got to wait 90 days. So typically, I don't put that up on the market. If you need it, I can usually contract it to you at an agreed upon price. But the marketing for that, I put stuff up in the past. It would just sit there for 45 days, and I can't use it, and I don't want to kill the sales order because then I lose money. So that's why the market for those things isn't really there.
So
Okay,
like
so
for
I
T2
can just, like-
components,
Yeah.
Do you
Sorry,
see
go
what I'm
for it.
saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
so basically
So
for T2
fair.
components,
The easiest thing.
Yeah, so to be fair, I don't think open market for materials is the way to go because of taxes. You're losing margins, and if you're doing something that's already very tight on margins, you know where I'm going with this. It's just not
exactly.
viable.
Yeah.
So contracts are much better in this case.
But with T2 stuff, it is quite different because they are quite volatile, so they move in price quite a lot depending on the ore and Moongoo. So, for example, you can have the item for 7,000 in one day as an input, then on the other day you will have it for 20,000, you know. And if you put it on market for 7, then you just lost 13,000. So that's where the slug comes in. So there's a channel for marketplace. You will just put like want to buy this in this amount, and people will mostly fill it.
I feel like the marketplace in Slack is not promoted enough. Like, I struggle to find maybe some PI, we struggle to find doors, although
Hey, my
that's
lucky
mostly a
soul.
problem of the orcs being grounded for a while. Yeah, I think we just need to promote a bit more to new, brave players.
I think that might be might be in agreement with you. I don't know if there's much disagreement in that way, but like I know that I do like the open market and like making it work. And back in like 7 months ago, we did kind of have a depleted open market in like terms of materials and stuff, like or like very basic stuff like minerals. You can like find them, and I learned how to navigate the Slack channels a little bit, and that helped a lot. But I guess there is an ability to do that too. But like I think I might be in agreement that like kind of promoting Slack might be the best way to go for the newer industrialists.
Well, it also does feel like, more communication and knowing which people you need to talk to for which things does seem to be a little bit of the trick of it here. Speaking as, looking from the outside in, it's like if you kind of know who the right guys to talk to are, then I would imagine that being able to talk to them kind of through Slack and gradually learn that over time would be a useful thing. So yeah, I am pushing new bros to get on Slack and make full use of the various channels there. Sounds like it's going to solve a lot of the issues that people are having here, because it's like it seems for every bit of demand that people have talked at, there is actually supply for it. It's just you need to know where to get that supply.
Yeah, I got you.
Also, talk to the buybacks. We have Alvitus, we have the buyback. They will both happily sell you their things, whether it's PI, whether it's Moongoo, whether it's like any components they get through the buyback. If they have it, they will most likely happily sell it to you locally rather than exporting it to high sec, because they would rather sell it to people in Brave because one, it's easier for them, and two, the money stays in Brave rather than going out to high sec. And then you might end up literally importing the same things that they exported the same day, which doesn't help anyone.
Right.
Yeah,
so like Dunk
if
was
you need,
saying,
if you need something like that for Alvatis, contact Elsky. He deals with all that stuff.
so like Dunk was saying earlier, if he has things that are up for sale, you have to like contact him and have a conversation with him about it. But if we had like a method where it didn't actually tie up your assets on a market where it would cost you money to take them to the buy order, like if we had a page that had like inventories on them, like I don't know if we do or not, but if we did have something like that, that would be like.
So we the buyback used to have a thing like that, but Rehan said that it didn't get as much traffic as they were expecting, so they kind of canned that idea. I know with Albertus, they on the marketplace they used to post every week, but I think Elsky has been a little bit on and off recently. So I'll drop a message hopefully, or is Metric here?
Because I have
Okay.
everything required to do like Tech 2 production. I just can never find the components, and it's more expensive. It's not profitable for me to try to import them to make Tech 2 things, given the current market. And so if we had like a local market that I could pick and choose from, without having to like contact somebody and like take like 20 minutes of time to figure out what do they have, where can I find it from, like how much, you know what I mean? That would be much better if I could just go to a website, pick what I need, and then just contact them with a contract board and say, hey, I want these things from you.
I agree completely.
Is there currently like a database for like names of people, just like a channel? I'm sure there's like a wiki page, but like a channel to say like, oh, this guy will do max efficiency refinery for you. Here's his name, contract him this here, and then like, oh, do you need two components? Do this here, and be like, okay, new bro industry people. Here's a link, and it's
That's
like
Slack.
there.
That's Slack.
Okay.
Or a wiki page, but the
I was gonna
wiki
say,
page
there
needs
is-
maintaining.
There kind of is a wiki page, but there is some outdated info on there, and there's not a lot of services.
Yeah.
So a lot of people just aren't posting their own stuff, right? They don't think of themselves maybe as a business that does that. But if you talk to them, they'll sell you stuff or do stuff for you.
And the thing is, if someone's running it as like a service, then so some the old guys who know Rehan used to run his mineral service, salvage service. He also ran a T2 service for some time, and the reason he stopped that is because it got boring and repetitive because he was doing it as a service. So I think a lot of the time when you're buying things from people, because they're not running it as a service, they're happy to sell it to you, and they're more likely to continue building whatever they're building. But as soon as someone starts it as a service, it becomes a job, and then that really puts people off, and people will burn out a lot quicker that way.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Would it be possible to just keep like a simple Excel sheet or Google sheet that people can look at that like you can register for, like I am this person and I constantly have a supply of X, X, and X? And then if somebody's looking for something, they can just, I mean, I know that's technically a Slack question.
This is Slack.
And that only works fine until that person either goes AFK, stops making that thing, and doesn't update the spreadsheet, and then at that point everything just falls apart.
To be fair, all of that can just be solved with promoting Marketplace on Slack. It's simple as that. We don't need no fancy.
So if you do need some stuff, literally just spam Marketplace, and then sooner or later someone will pop up, say, hey, I've got this, or I've got some of what I need.
I look at Slack every day to buy stuff and sell stuff.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Every morning when I wake up, I
it's
take
truly
one.
the go-to place.
On an up note, I should just stock the GE market with T3 subsystems for Loki and Tengu.
Yeah. And on other news, Dunk has a small announcement.
Oh boy.
The 3-tac U Keepstar is now online, fully fitted, and full power.
Fortress Impulse.
3-tac U. Here we go.
Okay. So Ivek.
What do we name it, Dunk?
It's on Orca. We're fine.
Wait, so do we have 3 Keepstars in Impulse?
Yeah, or is it
currently?
Well, the IRE Keepstar was transferred to REC as part of the plan. We still have the 68 FT Keepstar, and now we have a 3-tac U Keepstar. The 3-tac U Keepstar connects ULAX and the rest of Impasse.
Well, sweet.
What's the name?
Metric, go ahead, tell them what the name of the Keepstar is.
Oh boy.
Alpha Innovation.
Bravestar, yeah. Bravestar Galacticar.
Oh man.
It's
decent. It's decent.
It's a spin on the name of the channel of all the builders of the Keepstar. It was locally built, so that's kind of an homage to them.
Oh, that's exciting.
Homegrown, locally sourced Keepstar.
So there is, and remember, this is the Market Hub is on there, so it'll be a marketplace as well.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Oh, that's a game changer.
That is.
So as a midpoint, you'll be able to stock things there that people need, fuel people.
Oh man, that's exciting.
Okay, so there are
And it was a
markets.
team. I don't even know anymore, man. All I know is 3-tac U's there to stay.
Yeah,
that's right.
But it was a huge effort by a group of people to bring in all the things needed to build a Keepstar, and then literally, several thousand structure modules had to be built across like 40 or 50 different building slots or hundreds of slots, and it was just crazy to build this thing in basically a week and a half.
That's awesome.
Next time, I hope we don't have to be so secret about it.
Yeah, right.
Did anyone even notice it anchoring that we know of?
Nope.
Beautiful.
Nobody goes to Tritagu.
No comment.
Right.
Suddenly
What,
Keepstar.
the frat Keepstar?
Well, the
that's
Frat
tomorrow.
Keep starts tomorrow. We get to go blow that up.
Yeah, alarm clock.
Is
that
move ups
tomorrow
for that
morning?
coming up shortly, by the way?
Yeah, it's true. I think it's almost 2000 right
Didn't
now.
they just anchor it?
Yeah, they anchored it, and they didn't realize that it was U.S. holiday on Monday. So they thought, Monday morning, no one's going to be able in the U.S. to rally. But basically, all of Legacy is going to be either still awake and drunk from the night before or waking up early to go kill their Keepstar.
Womp womp.
Unfortunately, I'll be at work. 'cause-
So, forgive me, I had to step away for a minute, but I wanted just to see if you guys were talking about kind of the solution to us not being able to put things up on the market and tie up ISK for like components was just that like basically keep spamming buy orders on Slack. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, that's the easiest solution you can do.
Okay.
I don't know, looking from
Keep
the
the
outside in.
Keep the spam a bit reasonable, to be fair.
Looking from the outside in, it just for me personally, it seems a bit disjointed. Like,
I like spam.
we have a market. Why use a Slack channel? But
No, I mean it's a good point. Like the market is it ties up your components. So if no one buys your components, you have a lot of ISK tied up in those materials, and you can't use them unless you want to lose money. So it does make more sense to have a free market where you don't have that problem. But
why not produce what you need to make stuff, and then any extra you throw? So then like you just I don't know.
There's still taxes and stuff. You can get around taxes.
Because any extra you make will eventually get used to make that next one that you make.
I don't know. I don't in this.
If you don't want to use the marketplace, don't use it.
No, like I'm not against it.
I think the reasons to not use it are pretty solid, and I don't think we're going to change that basic aspect of kind of how it works inside of Brave. So I think increased communication through the Slack channels is a pretty solid idea and a solution to those issues.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against using the marketplace Slack channel. It's just like, then again, I'm used to literally blowing my ship up and then going buy more off market and buy it all. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know what you're saying.
I'm used to the buy it all mentality, which I've only realised from Brave. Like when I was in past alliances and past coalitions, like we used to have doctrine ships on contract, which is a thing that doesn't happen in Brave, which is confusing. But yeah.
Is there anyone out mining right now, or is that all through catch standing?
Spy.
Standing, probably.
Yeah, it'd be standing you want if you're looking for mining.
Speaking of mining, kind of one thing that I did kind of want to cover. How is the state of Impasse's recovery going? I know that we were like doing the ADM grind for a little while, and we kind of managed to get the pipe livable again. But
it's in a much better position currently because of the redeployment of the things that threatened Impasse, essentially, because the war in the south has gone very well. The war in the north has frankly gone even better, which has forced like almost universal redeployment, which means that there's not much that can drop in and surprise us, with the exception of the usual suspects through wormholes and those kind of things.
And boats left yesterday for good, it seems.
Yeah, all his stuff is pulled out. Its Titan died gloriously. I would say that I've had a lot of fun in Impasse in the last couple of weeks, just dropping on the various roaming gangs and having fun with YOLO caps and things, which has really been great. So I can strongly encourage, if you've got a capital ship, please do stage it in up in Impasse at wherever the staging will be announced shortly.
Shout out to Vogren and all the PvP guys doing their bit.
Oh yeah.
I mean, really, like it's such a good opportunity to get PvP experience with capital ships, and it doesn't get it doesn't really get better because it's like you're dropping on exactly the kind of stationary targets you're supposed to use these things for. It's in combat conditions, but with a lot of support locally, and you're going into kind of friendly space where you've got good intel. So it's like about as good a training wheels position as you could ask for.
Yeah.
So who wants Lumio's corpse, and how much do you want for it? How much do you want me to? Oh, how much do you want?
It.
I'm not sure that quite falls under the topic of industry questions, but
Yes, it does. Luminous Corpse is quite an asset. It'll boost your mining rates,
Right. Open auction on marketplace to see what happens. I bet we could
Shall
get in
I?
a bidding war.
This will be quite funny.
just to go slightly back on topic now,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
it's all right with you. I for one would hope that Impasse is going to get safer and safer over the coming weeks as more and more of the forces that were aligned against us down here kind of redeploy or failscade as is appropriate. And Fraternity at this stage is the only really semi-relevant threat that we have, and Fraternity on their own have never been a huge threat towards Impasse. Their hate cannon is mostly focused towards Test and Esoteria when they go whaling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that Impasse is actually looking like it's going to be pretty strong for industry output, and that we can be quite confident in redeploying things and Spod being back on the menu as Shad has said.
Right. One thing that was a frustration of mine is kind of getting the subcap guys to move to know that Impasse is open again, to get VNIs and coveters running in there a little bit more, because I haven't noticed that much. At least,
I mean,
last
honestly,
I checked 3 days ago.
Till the last couple of days ago, I wouldn't have recommended it just because of what it's not. We see these big capital moves, and you watch the stagings and all the various intel that we've got, but you're never really 100% sure that it's all going to happen until you physically see the shit somewhere else. So it's only literally in the last couple of days that it has genuinely started clearing out, and I would say that we can kind of go back and feel quite confident in being under our own capital umbrella. So yeah, I'd say going forward is the time to start re-promoting Impasse and just be like, yeah, this is the place, this is where you go, let's earn the money, let's be in comms, let's drop Thor's fucking hammer on anything that comes up there.
Yeah. And we do have a bunch of hot dreads still stationed there, right? That's always been there. I don't live in Impasse that often. Okay.
I mean, I can tell you that the recent incursion in Impasse showed very clearly what kind of numbers we can pull up there, and it's honestly terrifying. The sheer numbers of capital ships that we managed to put together, just as kind of the Impasse members of Legacy, was very, very impressive and kind of bodes well for the future.
Heck yeah.
This is maybe not industry, but it's Impasse related. And do we know what is going on in Fatalis? Kids with Gun have dropped quite a lot of stuff in there. Is that renters from them, or are they blue to them?
Yes, they are test renters.
Okay, cool.
Koffee, was there any other big points on your note?
No, we pretty much just hit all the major stuff. I mean, it explains why things were kind of the way they are for people that are unfamiliar with it. And we haven't really done anything.
Yeah, this
There's
helped
not
a lot.
much in the way proactively of trying to fix things, but a lot of it's just kind of knowing being most of the battle. I'm kind of content with the markets now that I know where everything is and how to get it.
I do have somebody mentioned that there's sometimes that we would jump freighter export stuff the same day that you'd import stuff from Jita, just because of buyback, and they're trying to make money off of everything, right? Am I getting this right?
So what I'm trying to say is, Albertis, sometimes they will say they export on a Sunday, so they have a bunch of Moongu that they posted on Marketplace. No one bought it, so they exported it. But then on Monday, it turns out, hey, you need some of the Moongu that they exported. So then you're basically importing that same Moongu. So the point is that even the buybacks would be happy to sell to you locally, because it stops it stops them exporting it, which they'd rather not do, and it just saves them time and money as well, and it can help you out because you don't have to spend money importing it yourself with BLT or whatever.
So should I just public contract, or?
So the buyback has a page which I don't use as much, but they have a buyback stock, And for 100% GSL, they've got assets all over Catch and Impasse
I
that you can buy.
think that was discontinued.
I think it
Oh, it
is, yeah, I
was?
think it's discontinued. Yeah,
Never
because
mind.
I think CCP and the way the filling contracts works, it didn't work nicely.
Got it.
Never mind.
Because I was gonna suggest a like public hangar that you can't take stuff out of, but you can see what's in there, and it's like this is going out on Sunday. Let me like take a look around and see if there's something I want in there, just so that it'd be like super visible.
What our artists used to do on Sundays, Elsky would basically post on the marketplace everything they had that was going for sale. So that would be like salvage modules, components, materials, pretty much anything. And then if it wasn't sold in like a day or two, it will get shipped out to HiSec.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's happened recently, but I'm pretty sure we can poke Elsky and see
I
what's
think it
going on.
hasn't been done for 2 weeks.
Is that it?
Yeah, it haven't done it in 2 weeks.
All right, sweet.
Sorry, what?
Elsky posting on the Sunday or Saturday everything that's for sale.
Okay, yeah. You might be doing that this evening. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, because I know Elsky's been a bit away for the last 1 or 2 weeks, so yeah, hopefully you can get back into it.
And
That'd
this
be
guy
nice.
is EU, so it's already night.
So
yeah,
I have a question
It's
about
evening.
Rotarus. So let's say we wanted to do our production in a different system than GE, which I know is probably good. If we wanted to set up our own Rotarus somewhere, what are the rules about that?
basically you need to get the Rataru, the fittings, the fuel. You need to fuel it. You need to get the fuel yourself, and you basically give it all to Metric. I'm not sure if there's any other specific rules, but you basically need to supply your own fittings, fuel, hose, yeah, and it gets deployed under POSBoys, and the tax is like 10% or whatever. Yeah, that's how it goes.
Fuel's pretty expensive, so you have to build a lot to make it worth it.
Yeah.
What's the tax?
I'm not sure what the tax is on industry, but it shouldn't be more than 10%. I'm pretty sure.
Wait, so 10% based on the cost of the Raitaru?
No, the
no,
tax is...
sorry, the tax, the industry job cost.
Okay.
So you can't like drop your own and undercut the taxes that are in GE. It'll be the same taxes, but it might save you the industry index since GE is higher.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly interested in helping finance that. Maybe others. So if you want to put up something like that, yeah, maybe start a group and ask around who else would be willing to finance.
I mean, if you want advice on it, there's that guy who builds the drones in Impasse. I can't remember his name. Someone help me out.
Ryder Rook.
Yeah, Ryder. Ryder Rook on Slack if you talk to him, because he set up his own things, and Gravenheg, he also set up his own Citadels. I'm not sure if he's still running them, but he did set them up at one point. So they would be the people to ask about setting up their own.
Well, sweet. I just saw the ping for the move up here to get things going for tonight's all-night fiesta of drunken madness of
Sorry,
Americans. Right? We're killing a keep star tonight, but we're doing advanced move ups and that sort of thing. So I'll try to wrap
Tonight
it up
or
here.
tomorrow morning, depending on time zones.
Yeah, depending on how you think of it. But one thing I think I'll do a one-off like Google sheet of just like open access to Indie Bros Public, and I'll ping the channel because I love doing that. It just for like people to list like who does what and kind of a picture of the current like Brave producers and like what people want to get into, and then I'll try to include something for like new guys that are like looking to get involved with stuff and see if we can connect them to each other. I'm not gonna even try to update it, so like we're not gonna try to make this a wiki page updated thing, but just with getting back into Impasse and everything, I think now is a good time for like a one-shot at that if you guys are cool with filling that out.
I think
you should also probably promote it to PI. That should be helpful.
There is a sheet for PI.
Right, just to get a picture of what we have, because P3 is used for production.
I think with the PI one, it might be worth getting someone to have a clear the whole sheet and then get everyone to fill it out again, because I suspect that some of the stuff on there would be outdated.
Yeah, I didn't even know the PI one existed. I don't really do PI. But yeah, throw that in Indy Bros Public if you can. But yeah, I'll just do that as like a broad stroke sort of thing. Just say who you are, what you build, and what you sell. And then I'll put a little included thing for new people. What do you want to do? And see if we can't get them in touch with each other to kind of like do collective capital, as Indy Bro was talking about. But like, I think consensus is things are pretty good. It's just kind of knowing how to navigate the madness.
Yeah, the third-party tools, like the spreadsheet, the PI spreadsheet, are only as useful as long as people are referencing them.
Right.
So that's like what Slack, or people are already referencing Slack. To add another tool, which we have a bunch for Dojo, and it's just a pain to open up that one extra sheet, and it doesn't happen. So, like if someone made a website that was amazing, that had other reasons for you to go to, then it might get used. But that's what makes the third-party tools more difficult.
I'll say this: like I reference on the Brave Wiki, I reference the industry, the industry page a lot, like for buybacks and for what our industry assets are, like moons and whatnot, to see things like that. So I think that gets actually accessed a lot for referencing where structures are and where moons are, what they hold. So if you put it up there, it might get more traffic.
Well, yeah, the thing is, if you want to have a quick sell, like you just had, like, let's say 1,000 robotics, and you want to sell them, it's super hard to go searching for people, like in the PIE spreadsheet and stuff. Whilst if you just use Marketplace, it's a lot easier, and if people get to use it more, it becomes easier for everyone.
I just
Yeah.
had,
Yeah.
I
It's
just
like
had a
3
brainwave.
clicks to get on the PI sheet to find who is buying what.
That's 3 clicks too many.
It
For a lot
just
of
adds, it adds more complexity for no reason. If people just could post anything in Marketplace, like if all people did that, it would just be so much easier. But people are not using it a lot. Like there's not a lot of people in Marketplace. If you go check the member count.
I just had a brainwave. What, like a Brave Marketplace mailing list? So that way you only get the messages if you're on the mailing list, and perhaps it can function similarly to the Marketplace in Slack.
I have a quick question about my alt account. It's currently in a spoopy alt corp. Does that mean I'm blue to Brave, or do I need to switch corps?
You'll have to ask your spoopy leadership.
Got it.
You probably aren't blue, but you'll want to double check that.
Okay.
If it's the spoopy alt corp I'm thinking of, no, you're not blue.
Alright, so I won't be able to dock or anything.
Nope.
No.
Okay. Thank you.
But yeah, check it with Algazel or something.
Got it.
All right, just for the sake of the recording, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna wrap it up for the time being. But thank you all for like the established guys, the new guys, and everyone that like came over just to like chat about it. A lot of it seems kind of like intuitive to people who've been around already, but like a lot of it is new for new people. So it actually, hopefully, we can get some people off their feet with getting things going.
Who was the person? Who was the person who was asking about the private Waitara?
That was who? That was me.
Okay, I'll talk to you in a bit.
Thanks, Metro.
Dope. Thanks, guys.
Koffee.
Yeah, for sure. What's
Koffee? I have so many
Thanks,
questions.
You have so many questions.
I have so many more questions.
Is there Tengu and Faith Abilis? Because that's all I care about.